Hi, I'm Carrie Adams, and you're listening to Carrie's Connoisseurs, coming to you from Solid Gold Podcasts. Here we talk to the movers and shakers, the drinkers, the dreamers, and all the people who make it happen in the liquor and luxury industries from around the world. Hello everybody, it's time for Carrie's Connoisseurs again, and today I've got somebody special in my studio that you might not even know about. His name's Tremayne Smith. Hi Tremayne.
Hi, thanks for having me here.
Thank you for coming. Tremayne Smith has a company called The Blacksmith?
The Blacksmith Wines, yeah.
The Blacksmith Wines. He's one of those sort of cool, left-of-centre, revolutionary... We'll hear all about what you are. I don't think you look gentle and sweet and...
I'm a very placid...
You look like a placid sort of democratic capitalist maybe, rather than a left-of-centre revolutionary communist. What are you?
No, I'm a very chilled, relaxed person.
I keep knocking everything off this thing here. This is not a good space. Tremayne is represented by a dear friend of mine, Morgan, who phoned me and said, Carrie, I've got Tremayne Smith coming to Johannesburg. Would you like to interview him? And of course I would, because I've seen his labels. You can see them on the camera here. They all are. They are so interesting, and not knowing the history behind any of it, my first response is that these labels look like the sort of blueprint for tattoos that my son would do before he was going to his tattoo artist. And I said as much to Tremayne, and he said, that's exactly what they are. Yeah. So we're going to hear about the labels. We're going to hear about it all, actually. But to give you a very, very quick rundown on Tremayne's background. You're an East London boy?
From Slummies, that's correct, yeah.
Selborne very College. Fancy schmancy. That's why I say deeply capitalistic. There's nothing sort of socialist about you. Selborne College is one of the best schools in the country. You became a chef.
Yeah.
Or wanted to.
Yeah.
And then decided that the liquid part of eating was better than the solid part. So went to Elsenburg College and graduated as a winemaker. And then we're going to hear the rest of that story from the horse's mouth. So, born and bred East London.
Born and bred East London. Great little coastal town to grow up in.
It is. It's a lovely place. Where, Nahoon?
No, more Vincent area, yeah. But, Nahoon Beach from anywhere in East London is a 5-minute cycle.
And it's so beautiful, isn't it?
Yeah, so it was great. Get on our BMX with our bodyboard, go down to Nahoon Beach, pretty much most afternoons after the school. And, it's great. It's great growing up there.
Yeah, it bred rock-solid citizens.
Yeah.
And lots of successful boys came out of Selborne College. So, you went to Elsenburg, which I still think is one of the best enological viticultural spaces in the world. It's world class.
No,
it really is. And it's produced some incredibly good winemakers in South Africa. Did your stuff, and then did you work for David Trafford thereafter?
Yeah, so I went to Elsenburg purely because it was more a practical aspect for me. Could go study at the university, which is a 4-year course, but it's more theoretical.
Yeah, it's agriculture.
So...
And all the theory thereof.
Yeah, so in a sense, doing the chefing course, working with my hands, it made a lot more sense to go and study at Elsenburg. And it was quite a challenging experience the first year at Elsenburg, because being what they call a Soti.
An Uitlander and a Soti.
And a Soti.
For those of you who don't know what a Soti is, Afrikaans people used to call English people Soties in the olden days.
Yeah.
And we didn't take offense,
No, not at all.
We didn't take offense. Not like now. Nobody's allowed to call anybody. I got into trouble the other day because I referred to the people that I'd met in Mexico as Mexicans. And somebody said to me, you're not allowed to call them Mexicans. I said, why not? They come from Mexico.
Yeah.
Isn't that the story?
Yeah.
Yes, they do come from Mexico, but it's offensive to call them a Mexican. I would take offense if somebody called me anything other than a South African.
Yeah, exactly.
And you?
So, yeah.
And even a Soti, I don't mind being a Soti.
I don't mind, no, not at all. It was, it is what it is, and
we are.
Exactly. I didn't take any offense to it. But it was challenging in a sense, yes, coming from a very strong English background, going into the Afrikaans background.
Tremayne's surname is Smith.
Smith, yeah.
It doesn't actually get much more English than that,
No.
eh?
So the reason for going to Olsenburg was, as I mentioned, was more practicality aspect for me. I like to work with my hands, and it was probably the fastest way to learn something as well. So then after I graduated from Olsenburg in 2007, I got my first job at the Trafford in 2008 doing the harvest internship there. And during that time, I was working obviously in both David's cellar, the Stellenbosch, the Trafford cellar.
Was the same cellar open then?
Just the first vintage was 07.
Must have, yeah.
But everything was brought in from Seine, from Malchus to Stellenbosch and made it at the Trafford. So I was between the Seine farm and the Stellenbosch farm during the harvest. And then from there, after harvest, I stayed on and was helping more with the Seine side of things.
Interesting farm there.
Very interesting. So I was out spending 2-3 weeks on the Seine farm, coming back, spending 2-3 weeks at the Trafford in the Stellenbosch farm during the non-harvest season. So I was involved with the viticulture, the vineyards there, and then obviously the winemaking, the blending, the bottling, both Seine and the Trafford throughout the year. So I was basically working 2 cellars in a year.
Nice experience.
Yeah, and then through that I went overseas. That was my first international harvest in 2009.
And where did you go for that?
I went to the south of France, in the Roussillon area.
We love Roussillon.
Yeah, so it was again working.
Sort of backbone of the French wine industry,
yes,
really.
yeah. So working with varieties like it's saying the Grenache, the more rustic variety,
Marsanne,
Carignas, all that kind of stuff. And then I really fell in love with those varieties. And yeah, so that was basically my first major job. Yeah.
And you came back. And when did you establish the Blacksmith Wines?
I started the Blacksmith back in 2014 vintage. 2 barrels of white, 2 barrels of red. I was still working for Mullen & Family Wines at that time. And yeah, I was allowed the opportunity to start my own little project. Yeah. That was back in 2014.
Were you making wine with the Mullen News?
Yes, yeah, I was the assistant, yeah.
What a lovely job that must have been.
Yeah,
I love those two.
Yes, yeah. So I was there 2012 to August 2016, was working for the Mullen News as the assistant, both at the Swartland establishment and then the Franschhoek as well, farm, when they joined forces with Lupusant. And there, obviously, I learned a lot. I learned a lot of knowledge working with the Swartland fruit, the Syrahs, the Shannons. Then obviously also got the opportunity to go abroad as well and do some more harvest there. Again, another vintage.
I was just saying the other day that I interview people from all over the place, and over many, many years, over 20 years. And it's actually amazing to me how well-traveled our South African winemakers are.
Yeah.
You know, in the rest of the world, the winemakers would die to have the opportunity to go and do a harvest in Napa and another one in New Zealand.
Yeah.
And one in, you boys are lucky.
No, we are very lucky,
really,
very privileged.
Are. And it's I think it's starting to show in the layers of quality that's coming back into South Africa, because you're obviously going and you bring whatever you learn back here and apply it. It's making a big difference.
No, it does. I mean, it's great. You go, you explore the world, you see new techniques, new varieties, different ways of making wine, and you bring your knowledge back. Even if it's just one little element.
Exactly that.
And if it works, it works. You can implement it in your own brand, implement it into someone else's brand.
And I'm sure there must be tricks. You know, I'm a huge Francophile. Everybody knows I'm a massive Francophile. But there are many other regions in the world who are making now gorgeous wine as well. But I'm also a big believer in not being able to reinvent the wheel. You can sometimes tweak the wheel. You could maybe put a different mag rim on it.
Yeah, for sure.
But it remains a wheel,
Yeah.
really. You can make it look a bit different.
Yeah.
And I might like a Momo mag and you might like a Sparky mag or whatever, but, it's still a wheel.
Exactly.
So I think that bearing that in mind, if we apply that to winemaking knowledge, you must have learned stuff in the Roussillon.
Yeah.
That makes you, it's almost like a missing ingredient that some other people might not have in the Swartland for your Grenache.
For sure, definitely.
Or your Shiraz.
Well, what I learned...
Remember those grannies who used to leave the one ingredient out
Yeah,
that made the cake flop?
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
No, what I've learned with my travels abroad, especially the south of France, was field blends. So
talk to me about field blends. Everybody knows about field blends. Nobody really knows what a field blend is.
Yeah, so for me, and this is what I learned, a true field blend is a complete mishmash of 100%. Different cultivars planted sporadically throughout the block. And, a lot of the field blends now, everything is planted in rows.
It's too contrived.
It's controlled.
So those field blends, the reason I asked you is because I also did a little bit of studying overseas. So I know what a field blend is. And those field blends were harem scarum. It would almost be like you and me coming out of school, not having finished matric, going into the family farm, seeing that vineyard was fruit, thinking we better plant another one, and you just went and stole vines from wherever you could. And you put them all into the same space. But it's not so stupid.
No.
Because they ripen at different times.
Yeah.
And so you get different acid levels. You don't have to mess around in the cellar so much.
Yes, yeah. So it's and that's one of the beauties about a field blend, I think, is because you got all these different varieties, and in the early years of that vineyard developing, yes, it might be a bit uneven.
Yeah, you might get one with acid that's sticking out the side too much, or maybe a fruity floppy fruit or whatever.
But over the years, over time, everything becomes harmonious. Sort of, they all sync together, and then they start ripening at the same time. But that's the beauty about a field blend, is the different flavor profiles and of each variety and what they bring to the table. We've worked with a proper white field blend in South Africa, planted in 1977.
How did you plant it?
Well,
did you plant it?
No. This is the thing. The farmers, we believe he had leftover stockies, vines from other plantings, and they were all in the shed. And it's like, well,
let's just do it.
Let's just plant it. But it was registered as Chenin Blanc. But
much to Sarvis's absolute horror.
Yeah.
Disgust.
So it was Chenin Blanc, Semillon. There was Semillon Gris. There's Palomino. There's Crucian Blanc.
I love Palomino.
There's
when I die, will you
Chardonnay.
make me a Palomino?
Yeah, I'm starting to work with some Palomino. Yeah.
I don't need it just yet, but soon.
There was even Cabernet Sauvignon Cinsault in the block, which was later pulled out. And replant and input with some Semillon and some
what did
Chenin.
you do? Did you go into the vineyard and get little bits and do some testing and see what's what?
Yeah, so I have a good friend who was my roommate at Olsenburg. He's a private viticultural consultant. And he went and he sussed out the block. There's about 13 different varieties in the block.
Perfect. That's what we want.
There's muscats.
Let's be
all that
honest. If
stuff.
you're making a fruit salad, you're a chef.
Yeah.
If you're making a fruit salad, you don't say, I'm not going to put a strawberry in that might not match with the pawpaw.
Yeah.
And then, I don't like one. You put the fruit in that you like, all the fruit in that you like, and it just goes together
it all
nicely.
works. And so yeah, it's like the best part was like walking through during harvest, Chenin Blanc. That's a Semillon. There's a Palomino. Oh, there's a Muscat. Okay.
Muscat as well in there. Oh, we love Muscat.
So with the field blends, we've also got a couple other new plantings of red blocks that we've planted specifically for us, for the purpose of making the field blend. And those are reds, but they're very young, so they'll develop nicely over the
And
next
I
couple of
suppose
years.
somebody might say, some clever, because we do get some clever people who watch these things, and then they don't go along with our harem scarum. What do you suppose the difference is between that fruit salad in one block or you going and planting very neat and tidy rows of cab in this vineyard and Shiraz in that, and then if you just pick them all at the same time
and blend it together,
and if they didn't live side by side
Yeah.
and hold on to each other on those trellises, or are they bush vines?
yeah,
Is there any merit to them all living together in their same acreage?
I think so. I think because then don't get me wrong, you can make fantastic blends from different cultivars, from different regions, different wards. But my sort of philosophy was, I would like to make the blend from one site. With all of my wines, they all come from a single site. They're not registered single vineyards, but they all come from a specific site.
I think there's a lot to be said for cohabitation.
Exactly.
I think cohabitation is great.
Yeah.
You spend too much time with somebody, you start becoming a bit like them.
Yes. Yeah.
You see the same but different, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. So the idea is for that. So they all the varieties are together. They see the seasons together. They see the specific microclimate season together. And then the blend is essentially made in the vineyard. And for me, wine is made in the vineyard.
Has to be. So that was my next question to you. Now we've got this field filled with vineyards, and we sort of know what vines are in there if we've taken the time and the trouble to know. And we harvest them all at the same time. And we take them to the cellar. Do we squeeze them all together?
Yes, we do.
Do we?
Yeah.
And we put them all into a tank or a barrel together?
All in the same tank together.
I love that.
So instead of keeping them separate, the purpose of a field blend is they're already together in the vineyard. So we bring them together in the winery. So co-ferment, and that's why on the back of our labels, we don't register the varieties because we don't know the weights.
Sure.
We don't know the weights. We know what the varieties are in there.
No, percentage, this percentage, who cares?
But if you want that on the label, Sarvis wants specific weights so you can get the specific volume to put the specific percentage on the back label. And, we don't do that. So.
And you're not obliged to do that?
No, you're not obliged. So you can just say field blend, dry red, dry white on the back label. That's it. You don't have to specify. You can do it on your fact sheet, but on the back label you don't have to.
Are there definitely some marriages that are better than others?
Oh, for sure, and that's again very trial and error. And what we can see over the last couple decades and is specific varieties in specific blends work. Cinsault, Carignan, Grenache, they work. So we have a field blend like that already. And then with whites, again, it depends. You can basically have all the varieties in one block if you want to. I know there's another white field blend, newly planted field blend. There's Gewürztraminer, there's Roussanne, there's Marsanne, there's Chardonnay. I think there's a tiny bit of Riesling in there. There's obviously Chenin. So you can basically put whatever you want. And
I think it's lovely. I think most of the old wines of Europe were made like that, and they were delicious.
Yeah,
we love them.
Yeah.
So you don't have a farm of your own? You don't have a vineyard of your own?
No.
You lease all those sort of things. Where are you making your wines?
So we've just set up our own little winery in Rubik West now, there in the Swartland. It's been a 2-year process. Finally got all our...
Did you build a cellar or did you get one?
We're renting 2 storage units, which we've converted into a winery. But while they were busy being built, we had the opportunity to put in the drainage before they threw the floor and open up the one side.
So you could do bits.
You can, yeah. And then, so we've just set that up. We've got our liquor license, everything like that now, warehouse number. So it's all sorted. So that's our cellar. That's our home now.
Okay, well, muzzle tov to that. I
Yeah.
mean. So you got that.
Got that.
And
yes.
now have you signed long-term leases with specific vineyards with growers?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
We have long-term agreements in the sense that specific blocks that we've been taking since some of the fruit we've been still using the same blocks since we've started back in 2014. And we take every year. But we're not leasing, but we have a long-term agreement to buy in fruit.
So now I'm having a look at something here. We're going to talk about all kinds of things. Tell everybody about your labels, because look, guys, look at these labels. Do they look like tattoo blueprints too? First of all, look at Tremayne's arms. Hold your arms up. He's got beautiful tattoos. My child's going to say, Mom, you're so fickle. You told me mine are ghastly. Yours are beautiful, okay?
Thank you.
And I like that they're all that sort of smoky grey.
Yeah. So, my labels, again, they're quite graphic, and they're not your average run-of-the-mill South African label.
And the names. Talk to me about those, because we've got some really interesting wines here. And you've got a pet nat, which we need to speak about.
Yes, yeah.
Not many people will know about a pet nat. Talk to me about these names. What have we got? What's this thing called? Flash
series.
Flash series?
Yeah.
What's that?
As this one over here. So, the labels are very graphic, out there. Not your average run-of-the-mill South African style wine label, but again, it speaks of my personality. I'm a very shy person, so I like to let the artwork do the talking. But it's not just, I do have a fascination with skulls and skeletons.
You and my sister. I should send you down to Sweetheart. So let me tell everybody what the names of these ones are. We've got the King's Spirit.
Yeah.
That sounds a bit like tarot cards to me.
Yes, yeah.
Then we've got Bare Bones. We've got Hell Yeah. My God, we mostly have one of those. Guided by the Moon. I love the Moon. What's the last one
That's
called?
the Flash
Series.
The Flash series.
So those are like seriously off the wall and left of center.
Yeah.
Do you read science fiction? Do you read imaginary? Did you like Harry Potter?
I do love.
I love Harry Potter.
I do love Harry Potter. I love sci-fi. I love.
So is this Muggle stuff, or is this not other?
So I love cartoons. I like proper cartoon magazines as well. One of my favorite characters is Hellboy. So very, again, quite dark. And the labels are, again, very edgy.
You're going to make me a Palomino called Muggle stuff.
I can do that for sure.
Okay.
But the labels have a deeper meaning too, and the names for the wine itself.
Tell me.
So, for instance, Guided by the Moon is this is a field blend of Grenache Blanc, Grenache Noir, and Palomino.
That sounds nice. I got Morgan, his agent, sitting over there, and she's sort of saying, "Yes, that's the one."
So the farmer, it's a young field blend. It's, 2023 was its first vintage, so it's only 3 years old. But the farmer had this idea to how to plant these varieties together. So he followed his intuition, and then with that, we decided to follow his intuition and do our intuition in the sense of, instead of keeping the variety separate.
Farmer,
yes.
Is he just like also an odd boy? Or, because normally a grower wouldn't make a field blend, would he?
No.
Hey, so where did you find that weird boy?
Well,
I mean, somebody who decided to say, I'm going to throw in 350,000 Rand a hectare.
Yeah.
And I am going to make a field blend, and I hope to God that some weird sci-fi introvert will come and buy it from me.
So he's fairly young, a youngish farmer, and he appreciates wine. So he gets his Badenhorst allocation. He gets some Sardi allocations, or the Savages. So he really enjoys his wine. He appreciates his wine, and he's been working a lot with the viticulturist who helps me. So he ran the idea past him and said, I would be keen to do this.
Okay.
Do you think you could it would work? And he took the jump and planted it.
That's so
And then
cool.
I said, it sounds fucking awesome.
Mine.
I'll be keen to buy some fruit for
Good.
sure.
Good.
And it's in bottle now.
So where do you live?
We live in.
You don't have to give me the address. Just now we get some weirdo come stalking you. But like where? Swartland?
We live in the Swartland, just
Do you?
outside Rebecca Castile. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's lovely.
On the farm, yeah.
So we've got, are these the only ones you make? And your pet net, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Do you make 6?
I make quite a few wines, yes.
So what happens to all you boys? You get bitten by this wine
you
bug,
do,
and
yeah.
before you know it, you've got 2,000 expressions in your cellar that
Exactly,
you don't know how to get rid of.
And I said to Yaku, my viticultural friend, because he keeps showing me, oh, you have to come check this vineyard. It's
know.
awesome. You know, like,
Did I see somewhere that you've got a wine with column bar in it?
yes, yeah, we also do a straight column
I'd
bar.
be interested. Is it a straight column
Yeah,
bar?
100% column
I'd be
bar.
interested to taste that
Yeah.
one day, because I always think that column bar, I don't know, column bar got hit by the windmill, hey?
It did. Obviously, its main thing in South Africa is brandy production, and it's used in bigger
And
wineries.
yet, it's such an honest little grape as well.
Yeah, it's very expressive where it's grown.
It's expressive and it's quite high yielding as well.
Yes, yeah.
So, from a farmer's perspective, it's quite a goodie. But I'm sitting here trying to think what I would match column bar with if I was blending it, and I don't know, would it fight with Chenin?
Well, in that sense, no, because it's used in the bigger winery setups and cooperatives as a blending big
It's
component.
a big blending component.
Yeah, because of its acidity and again the volume, the recovery. But it would do exceptionally well with Chenin
We
Blanc.
could almost make a sparkling wine out of column bar.
Yeah.
What's your pet nat made out of?
Chenin and column bar.
No, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I've done a straight column bar pet nut before as well.
Have you?
Yeah.
Did it work? Because acid levels are high enough to
Very
do.
high acid level, yeah.
Yeah.
No, it does work, yeah. It was actually a skin fermented pet nut.
That's the next thing I have to tell you. Is that Tremayne is one of these orangey, dirty wine boys. I need to put you and some of your friends in the bath. I told Artie that one day. He actually did take offense a bit. I like clean, crisp, not necessarily sparkly filtered wines, but I like clean wines.
Well, our wines are very clean.
And I don't want them to be murky, and I don't want floaties in my wine.
No. I'm
And
the same.
I want them to smell like they've just been bathed rather than
Yeah.
they've got sort of sulfur deodorant, you know. I don't want that. Or oxidized. I don't want oxidated
No,
wines.
we make, all our wines are naturally made, natural fermentation. We do a filtration before bottling. But we,
Do you?
Yes, we do.
I'm glad to hear that, because I
So our
think you should.
wines are clean going into the bottle and
clean coming out.
Clean coming out.
Okay, they
Exactly.
should be. They absolutely should be, because I think that just another mad add-on to our currently mad world is orange wine.
Yeah.
And I know that all the boys in London are going to shoot me down in flames because it's all trendy and everybody's drinking orange wine. And, but that kind of stuff's been coming out of Eastern Europe for a long time.
For a long time, yeah.
Largely because that was just their wine style, their style
Yeah.
of making wine, and it was oxidatively made, and it was
And the Cuevres, yeah.
dirty and
Yeah,
orange.
yeah.
That's horrible. There's one or two that are nice,
No,
but
for sure.
only one or two.
Yeah.
So yours are not that.
No, we make clean natural wines. We're very technical in a sense that we'll analyze straight after alcoholic fermentation, and then we'll make sure we analyze all the time to make sure that there's no chochas, no baddies in the wine.
And you don't stop and start and put sulfur and take sulfur away, and you don't.
No.
And malolactic's allowed to happen if it
Malolactic's
happens.
allowed to happen. If it happens, it happens.
Yeah.
Like, for instance, on the column bar, it's super low pH, high acidity.
Yeah,
It won't
so-
happen.
Yeah.
So it's there. It's
Not gonna
the pH is stable enough to keep the wine healthy. Whereas the other whites would generally go through malolactic fermentation.
And you don't stop it.
And we don't stop it. No.
Because sometimes, I always say, a bit too much mallow, and it's a bit like
Yeah.
a granny with a big pair of panties that's loose elastic, you know? You don't,
Sometimes,
you don't want
that does happen, yeah. But again, we're working with a natural product. We want to. It really depends on the vintage. How much malic is that is extracted or present in the juice, and if there's enough natural bacteria to allow it to go through.
So we've got how many reds, how many whites?
In total, on the table, yeah, we got two whites and
That old yet, Tremayne. I can see how.
Two whites, two reds, and one in between, like a skin contact red vibe. Oh.
That's something like it might not be my vibe.
Oh, that's
What's in there?
that's the Grenache Blanc, Grenache Noir, Palomino field blend. The Garde by them.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So does it come out a little bit sort of
pinkish? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Which is quite interesting. It's got lovely aromatics, but it's got
I don't
skin
mind if it
contact
comes out pinkish,
structure.
actually.
Yeah, no.
As long as it's not Chardonnay Pinot Noir, which is basically flat champagne,
Yeah.
which we just don't want to be part of.
No. It's got a nice pink hue to it. It's got some nice sort of orange skin contact, tannin structure. So yeah, it's sort of like a hybrid between an orange wine and a very light red.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, have you got? Do you know what I'm loving more than anything in my whole life at the moment from South Africa? Is Cinsault.
Cinsault, yeah.
God, there is some of the most delicious. I think I wrote in my newsletters. If any of you subscribe to my newsletters, just look for Cinsault. I tasted a Cinsault from Ilimis,
Oh yes, yeah.
which has to be one of the best Cinsauts I've tasted. It is absolutely, it's Lucinda Haynes.
Yeah.
She is she's just brilliant. And that Cinsault was gorgeous. And I tasted, well, Morgan gives me lots of Cinsauts and things because she's got a whole bunch of you who make those kind of wines. And Cinsault is another very, very unsung hero in the South African wine industry. I think that it was the backbone of things like Chateau Libertas. and
Yes.
all that
most
sort of stuff for
definitely.
many, many, many years.
Yeah.
Kept lots of people drunk, lots of people happy for not much money at all while I was studying and all that sort of thing. So Cinsault is definitely to be recommended for anybody who's looking. These wines are beautiful. Where to from here? What's your 5-year plan? Or don't you have one?
No, 5-year plan is to, now that we have a home, our new winery, is obviously to grow into that. And we're working with a couple new vineyards, so we want to get those up into production and get them into bottle, which is also quite a slow process.
And are you using open fermenters and eggs and all those kind of things that everybody's talking about?
We use open fermenters,
You know what you must do?
plastic roto tanks.
Brucey Jack did as well when he first opened his little cellar on the waterfront. I remember falling upon it long ago. Didn't know him. And I had just come back from living in the UK and I stumbled upon him and I went in there and I said, this looks like a wine cellar, you know.
Yeah.
And that's when I met Bruce Jack and he had just that. His dad had been, I think, one of the architects on the waterfront project and he'd managed to get this little space right on the waterfront on like a railway siding.
Sure.
The coolest place. All plastic tanks.
Yeah.
It was terribly infra-dig, you know, the likes of, we won't mention names, but would have looked at that and thought, my God. He had a piano downstairs. We played piano. We got drunk. I didn't even know him.
Sure.
It was absolutely lovely. And he started like that as well.
No,
and look where he got to. But more than that, I waylaid myself with Bruce Jack there. What were we talking about?
The open fermenters.
Oh, your open fermenters.
Yeah.
Have you seen all those old cement
Yeah.
open fermenters and things that the KWV and they all used to use them. And some of them are still in use.
Yeah, I know.
Artie makes some of his wine in those.
He does. Kanonkop is pretty much all just open fermenters for the reds.
It's absolutely the best.
Yeah, yeah. No, it's. I mean, for us, we small. Would love to have concrete open fermenters and concrete eggs and concrete tanks. I've got a couple stainless steel tanks. But
those are always nice when the shit's hitting the fan and you need to make a big commercially viable.
No, for
you just
sure.
throw 1 million liters of Chenin Blanc into a steel fermenter.
Yeah, but I mean, for us, it's the plastic tanks work because they take a ton of grapes, of reds, or if you want to do white wines, for orange wines. You clean them up, pack them away. They're off the floor. They're out of sight, out of mind. You got more space than for the rest of the year.
Yeah.
So they're great. They come down once a year for harvest, and they go back up again after that.
And most of all, are you having fun?
Always have fun. It's the most important.
What
part.
does your wife do?
My wife helps me with some of our marketing stuff, Instagram.
Yeah.
She does all our mailers, a lot of the social media stuff.
And have you got babies?
Got two.
Tell me about your babies.
So we got a little girl. She's 7. Her name's Isla Rose. Actually, both my kids' names are on my knuckles.
I don't know if those were tattoos or scars.
No, those are tattoos. No. So Isla Rose and then Evan Nova. Evan he just turned 3. They're both eating us out the house at the moment.
Wait until Evan's 13.
Yeah, well,
or 16, and he's in the first rugby team.
Yeah,
in Stellenbosch. He's going to eat anything. He'll eat you if you stand still for too long.
We get home from school. I'm hungry.
I know, it's so cute.
I'll give her yogurt. 5 minutes later,
Yogurt's
I'm hungry.
not food.
I think I'll have a banana. No. I'm cooking supper. 5 minutes before supper, I'm hungry. Give him something.
Yogurt's not food, Dad. You know what the farmers are like? The farmers in the Cape, they all used to they still make me laugh so much. They reckon chicken's a vegetable.
Yeah.
They eat like there's no tomorrow.
No, but the kids are great. They've been coming to the cellar during the harvest late.
So you don't live where the cellar is?
No, we don't, no. So we live on the outskirts of Rubik Castile, and then the cellar is in Rubik West. So it's a 10-minute drive to
And how
work.
many vineyards do you buy from to make up your current portfolio of wines?
Current portfolio, so we got Waterval, Pakistan, Primo,
You've developed quite a hectic Afrikaans accent there,
yeah.
I'm impressed.
8K, Languedoc, and Orangerie, so 6 farms only. Yeah. So
Okay.
we used to get from other farms, but we're really just focusing on basically a handful of farms.
Yeah.
And that's it. That's enough for us. Otherwise, it becomes a bit too difficult to work with so many different farms.
How easy is it to make a business like that work?
It's
I've
tricky.
got a whole lot of aspirant winemakers out there.
Don't get me wrong. It's hard. It's hard work.
Listen, there's no such thing as easy work.
No,
All work should be hard, but is it lucrative?
It's lucrative for us. It works for us.
Have you got a Ford Everest, or what have you got?
My wife's got a Ford Everest, but not the new one. Not the new one.
And what have you got, an Amarok?
I've got a Volkswagen, yes,
You see,
but it's not an Amarok.
It's
a
blueprint.
it's a
Volkswagen Beetle.
No, it's a transporter.
You see, do you know how much those are?
No.
So
it's not.
yes, the answer is affirmative. Become a winemaker and start making money from day one. If you are clever. If you're clever.
No, you don't make money from day one.
What? What's your holy grail? What do you want to make more than anything? What's your favorite thing to make?
At the moment, I love making Chenin. Chenin for me is one of my favorite varieties. I think it's one of the favorite varieties for a lot of us South African winemakers because it's Chenin Blanc. It's truly South African.
If I was to say to you, explain to my viewers What is Chenin Blanc? What does it taste like to you?
It's difficult because Chenin from the Swartland is different.
What does your Chenin taste like?
So we work a lot with, majority of our Chenins actually from Pole, the Swartland, so very close to the Swartland border. And Pole is a very warm region.
I was going to say hot Chenin is hot.
Yeah. So it's very expressive in a sense that that vineyard on that site always gives us a lot of tropical elements. So we get a lot of the sort of like dried charred pineapple, and then also like peaches that you put on the braai on a hot skillet, getting that bit of char.
So smoky tropical fruit.
Yeah, but not smoky in a sense, but more of that sweet caramelized characteristics. With your typical Chenin characters, some nice minerality, a bit nice mouthfeel and texture on the palate. But again, Chenin is a chameleon. It showcases, like Cinsault, showcases where it's grown really well. But for me, at the moment, I'm really enjoying field blends. So we've worked with 3 different field blends at the moment. But I have a fascination with fortified wines.
Oh, I also do.
So now,
anybody who says they don't drink fortified wines is telling fibs.
Yeah.
I have hosted 1 million wine tastings in my lifetime. And I've always said, it's easy peasy choice for me.
Yeah.
You go to the shop, you don't buy the green pawpaw. You don't. You buy the red, orange, bright orange pawpaw or the soft yellow mango.
Yeah.
So you know that when you bite it, the juice runs. You've got to eat it in the bath, basically. That's what you've got to do, because that's when you get the flavors and things out of it.
Yeah.
And sugar is nice.
Yeah, it is nice.
Natural sugar is nice. And every single wine tasting that I do, everybody says, oh, no, we want dry this, dry that, ultra brut this, dry that. And then you bring out the Noble Late Harvests, the fortifieds, the natural sweets.
Yeah, straw wines.
It's so amazing that those are always the bottles that are finished by the time everybody leaves the tasting. They are so delicious. And I really hope that by the time I die, everybody said she did a lot for sticky wine. Because you do. So you're making, when you say fortified, what are you making?
Well, I still want, next year, hopefully we can make some port. Obviously, when I worked for David Trafford and the Mullineux straw wine, and that's also a reason why I went to work at David Trafford, was to do straw wine. So I still love them, to drink them. It's
hard to make.
Pain in the arse to make.
Hard to make. It's literally sucking blood out of stones.
Yeah.
It is sucking blood out of... How does it happen to be so inexpensive in South Africa? Go and look. Guys, you've heard me say 1 million times, go to the shop and buy Noble Lates and natural sweet wines. They are such good value for money, and they are so beautiful. And contrary to popular belief, they don't have massive alcohols on them.
No.
They have low alcohols, and they have some of them have got high sugars, but not too much. Sometimes you can. They are just so blooming delicious. Go and get them. Honestly, go and get them.
So yeah, I mean, I love dessert wines, but I would really like to try my hand at making port.
Do you think you could plant Tinta and that sort of stuff in the Swartland? You could. Hey?
There's Tinta Barocco, there's Touriga Nacional, there's Tinta Amarella. There's some Tempranillo, which is Tinta Auroris.
Perfect, yeah.
So yeah, there's...
Well, I look forward.
There used to be quite a bit of history.
I look forward. If something happened to the Nels and the Bradels, we'd look a bit stupid from a port perspective.
No. But I mean, it's for some reason, the port culture has declined in South Africa. I don't know why. I mean, we actually make fantastic ports.
We make brilliant
ports. But yeah, so would really like to try my hand at that.
Okay, so that's your thing. I'm sure you'd make absolutely beautiful wine.
Thank you.
And now, because everybody is going to, guys, anybody who wants to, I don't know how this happens, we'll put us something somewhere that you can get hold of me if you want to buy these wines. They're different. They're alternative. They are muggle wines, but they sort of muggle from another planet. And if you want some, you can get hold of me at Carrie's Connoisseurs, and we'll make a plan for you to have them. They're not expensive. They're around about, I don't know, they range from about 120 to 200 rand a bottle, something like that. They're really not expensive. So you can get hold of me at Carrie's Connoisseurs and we'll give you some. But more than that, I want you to tell the viewers your death row meal and wine of yours.
Of mine?
So you've got to choose one of your wines and pair your death row meal to it.
I would go, the wine's not here, These Old Bones. That's the Whitefield blend we've been working with the 13 different varieties.
13?
It's unique. Always try to explain to people it's 4-dimensional. It's not 3D, it's 4-dimensional.
There's even a 5D now, you know
Yeah,
that?
I know, yeah. So that's a wine that's like, it's just super complex. Every time you come back, it's something uniquely different. Unfortunately, we don't make wine from that vineyard anymore. So the last vintage is 2022, which we haven't released yet. So definitely that wine.
Do you put any of your reds or whites into oak?
I do, yes, yeah. I do put the
Old,
whites
new.
or old oak, yeah.
Yeah.
Nothing new. Can't afford new.
Thank God.
Yeah. Meals.
What wine are we going to choose? First of all, what wine are we going to choose?
These Old Bones, 2021.
Okay, so we're definitely doing These Old Bones.
And then a meal.
And I'm assuming with all those different grape varieties in there, there's quite a lot of texture on
a lot
the
of
palate,
texture,
hey?
yeah.
So what are we going to have?
It's difficult. I mean, I love food. I love cooking.
I love food. Calf's brains, maybe we should have.
Or a skarpkop, yeah.
I can't bring myself to eat a skarpkop.
I'm
such a big deal. I'm not going to eat that.
We had a skarpkop evening at Audi last week, Tuesday. It was delicious. It was great.
I know, it's so delicious. I love all the stuff that comes out the cup. I just can't look at the cup.
I keep it simple, man. I love a good roast chicken on a spatchcock chicken. So yeah.
I love Mommy's home roast chicken.
Yeah.
There's nothing that
There's
your mother's
nothing.
roast chicken can't fix.
No. So
Just
yeah,
remember.
it's just a nice.
So should we have roast chicken?
Oh, the spatchcock with some nice Moroccan spices, a lot of coriander and cumin.
Do you think not just like roast chicken
Just
ordinaire?
roast chicken. Yeah, I like.
You like spatchcock?
I like.
She like that lady who lies on her bed with her legs. What's wrong with you?
No, I love spices. So definitely one of my favorite spices is coriander. So a lot of coriander. A lot of coriander seed, freshly ground up coriander
goes
seed.
beautifully with all those strange white wine varieties.
Yeah,
it's gorgeous.
Yeah. And a bit of lemon, lime.
Do you know what? Maybe you must make me some verjuice or something out of one of those. You know, verjuice you have to have in your kitchen if you cook. Cook. And can you imagine if we had one that was sort of coriander infused?
Yeah, for sure.
I think we should collab on something like that. So we're going to have chicken. We're going to have a spatchcocked spicy chicken.
Yeah.
With a 13-way split white wine.
Exactly.
Sounds good to me. What are you going to have with your chicken?
I love a good fire roasted butternut. Yeah, with a nice little vinaigrette and
some balsamic
and a bit of yogurt in there with some roasted tomatoes as well.
Okay. Next time I'm in Cape Town, that's what we're going to do. That's definitely what we're going to do.
For sure.
So is there anything I need to know about that's in that cellar, lurking, bubbling, brewing, broiling? What's happening that we should know about? Anything new?
So there's always something new with me. I have a 2 collab projects I do with the distillery in Cape Town as well. But in the cellar itself,
what are you distilling? Gin.
We make vermouth.
Oh, do you?
And I have 3 barrels of bourbon style whiskey.
That's nice. You know, single malt's my next love.
Okay. So yeah, I've got the first barrel bourbon we made was 2019. That's in bottle now.
Yum.
We're going to release it in 2 weeks. But in the winery itself, my original 2 wines that I made, I sort of didn't really discontinue, but we stopped producing because we couldn't really find the right farmers, growers, and varieties. And now, over the last couple of years, we have.
Funny how you grow into those sort of things, don't you?
And there were multi-regional blends, and now we are focusing on single, coming from not really single sites, but single farms.
Yes.
With the varieties and
do you
single
credit
origins.
the farmers anywhere on your label?
I don't, but I always do. And the wines that we produce from those farms, we always give the farmers a couple cases, which is important. And sort of give back. Say, this is the raw fruit, and this is the end product.
They're such unsung heroes, really, because
yeah.
I'm of the same opinion as you. The wine's actually made in the vineyard.
In the vineyard, yeah.
Yeah.
So we're bringing those 2 wines back, a white blend and a red blend, or Swartland fruit, from the Paardeberg. So that's not new, but sort of a resurrection in a sense of those 2 wines.
And we've got a port to look forward to.
And a port maybe next year, yeah.
What do you mean maybe?
No, we'll definitely make one.
That means, have you not made one yet?
No.
No, we've got to age it because it's got to be 3.
Yeah, it's at least 3, maybe.
Although we can taste it for the next 3 years.
I would love to make a tawny and leave it for 10.
Tawny is my absolute best thing. Can you imagine? That's probably one of my death row drinks.
Yeah.
Tawny port.
I love tawnies.
It is completely and utterly, for those of you who don't know, tawny port goes the tawny color. It's got to be at least 8 years old, hey? Or is it 10 now? Between 8 and 10 years old.
Yeah.
It's that sort of... It's like, how am I going to do this without sounding hugely as if I own a brothel or something? But I mean, it honestly is like having something incredibly silky slipping down your throat. It is so gorgeous. It's glycolic, hey?
Yeah.
It's like translucent, see-through, burnt brandy butter silk that goes down your mouth.
No,
it's just absolutely bloody gorgeous. Go and find, before it's the end of winter, drink a few bottles of tawny port.
Boerplaas make a good one, and the Krans, yeah.
They all do. Okay, so you're going to make a tawny port.
I would love to, yeah. We'll make enough and leave 1 barrel to go tawny.
And do you, leave 1 barrel to go tawny. Do you take part in that Swartland scope? Or how do my people find you? How do they come and visit you?
Well, yeah, you can obviously look.
Do you have visits?
We do. We're allowed to have some visits now, yeah. So you can definitely have a look on our website, get in contact with us.
The Blacksmith Wines.
The blacksmithwines.co.za.
Why the blacksmith? I understand the smith.
Where
did the black come from?
So the blacksmithing part, again, a blacksmith works with their hands to create something. So my background of cooking, also working with your hands to create a product for people to enjoy. Same with winemaking. And there's also blacksmithing, my wife's side of the family. So that's where the name came to be.
What are we going to do one day when people don't use their hands anymore, when they've only got like a chameleon?
Yeah.
Just an index finger to hold your phone with and a thumb to type with.
I'm not too sure.
Then what are we going to do? Something worth thinking about, guys. Throw that phone away.
So yeah, that's where the blacksmith, the name came to be. And again, blacksmith, very dark, gothic, unusual in the blacksmithing era, the medieval times. So it's
normally the blacksmith in the village who'd murdered the king or somebody.
Pretty much.
There's someone, because they had those sharp tools and things.
So the name really stuck. I didn't want to call it the Smith family wines or...
It sounds too posh for what these are. I love that they all sort of left of centre.
Yeah.
They all sort of swerve a little bit, which I love, swervy stuff. I love that they are... the tattoos. We didn't talk about the tattoo artist.
Yeah.
Quickly, tell them.
On my labels, I got my first tattoo in 2014, so it's been...
How did your mother feel about that tattoo?
I've always wanted tattoos, but I could never... I was shit scared of needles.
I am too. That's the one reason I could never... And other than that, I know that when I was young, it was only sailors and ex-convicts who had.
So I only got my first tattoo when I was 28. So yeah, it's
You don't even look like you're 28 yet.
Oh. And I got one pretty much every year after that. And then I just...
Are there stories to your tattoos?
Yes.
My child's got a story to everyone. He thought he was going to get away with his first one by putting my name on his arm here.
Yeah.
I said to him, it hasn't actually cut the mustard. I don't care if you put Jesus Christ's name on there. Hello, you must read my newsletter this week. It's a question that I'm going to ask everybody. It suddenly struck me when I was writing a newsletter last week that nobody had a surname in the Bible. Does anybody know what Jesus' surname is? And it's not Christ, because it wasn't Joseph and Mary Christ.
No.
So I need to hear from everybody. Peter, Paul,
what are their surnames?
Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. Who?
Yeah.
Luke who? Schlomovitz? Luke Adams? I don't know. Who, where? So,
but yeah,
surnames.
My
important. Blacksmith.
My tattoos do have meaning. Obviously, my right arm is all wine related, and then my left arm is all family oriented. Cody is one of our basset hounds.
I hope Cody was a dog.
There's Cody. There's Bob. He's got his party hat on.
That looks like a girl from here, but I haven't got my glove. Okay, it's a pretty dog.
So no, they all have meaning.
They're beautiful, and you've got a specific tattoo artist that you go to.
Yes, yeah. So I've been going to her since 2014.
And if you're scared of needles, how do you get that done?
Yeah, I was petrified.
Did you drink a lot?
No, I didn't take anything. You
because
can't.
then you bleed
You bleed
and
out.
stuff.
Yeah, you bleed a bit too fast. I got my first tattoo in the bug bits.
And it's like these soft pieces here. I mean, I can think of nothing more sore.
Some of them weren't that painful.
Hey, on the
but
soft bits.
Some were.
What about like behind your knees and stuff?
No,
Can you imagine?
I've only got on my arms.
We don't want to do that.
The knuckles are actually...
The best.
No, they weren't
Are
that...
knuckles sore?
My first knuckles, my daughter's name wasn't anything, but when I got Evan's done...
Because this bit, I could imagine this bit.
It was...
The closer you get to the nerve end,
Yeah,
you know?
It was an odd feeling, and then afterwards, like half an hour afterwards, then it was fucking sore. Then it was like...
I thought you were going to say it got nice.
No.
I was going to say, you sound like a sadomasochist.
Obviously, some of the soft, fleshy areas are...
The softy bit in the middle here,
that was painful, but that took...
I just can't. They look very beautiful. I just cannot imagine.
So my tattoo artist Tamar Thorne, she does Tamar Thorne, yes. She does all of my tattoos, and then in 2015 I asked if she would be interested in doing
your labels.
A label, and then
they're beautiful.
Bob's your uncle. She does all our labels. Yeah.
They're beautiful. So does she make them? They do. They look like tattoos, guys.
They do. Yeah.
I looked at them and I thought this looks like a tattoo.
Yeah.
I just really did. Look at them. The black, and this is like sandbar. My sister would love this. Bare bones, and it's a skull.
There's a skull, corkscrew skull.
What's the fascination with skulls? Don't you think they're a bit like creepy?
No, I don't know. I just have a fascination. I think in my previous life, I think I was a pirate or something.
What was this for? I was a pirate, but that's because I like rum.
I also love rum.
What is Hell Yeah? When did that happen? It must have happened in the cellar somewhere.
It happened in the cellar. So the Hell Yeah is a pinotage. So one of my farmers, where we get our cinso for the bare bone cinso, he said, I got this pinotage. No one really wants it. It goes to the cooperative. They use it to make rosé. Do you think you could try and make a red wine? I was like, okay, I'll give it a shot. Worked with it very gently, the way that we handle the cinso, because pinotage is parents of cinso and Pinot Noir.
There's certain ways, things to do with pinotage, and you can make beautiful wine.
You can.
You can cold ferment.
Well, that's what we do.
Is that what you do?
That's what we do. And I was like, okay, it's not bad. Let's see. I went through mallow. Wasn't obviously red wines after malolactic fermentation, always in a weird place for a couple months.
They're a bit schizo.
Yeah, I was like,
you need to put them on Ritalin.
I was like, okay. I come back like a month or two after that. I was like, tasted the barrel. I was like, fuck
Hell yeah.
Fuck yeah, this is good.
So you couldn't call it fuck yeah.
No, so hell yeah, it's stuck. So yeah,
Okay,
that's where the
excuse
name.
us, YouTube. Sorry about that.
So that's where the name came, yeah. And yeah, obviously I couldn't put that on the label. Sarvis wouldn't approve of it.
No,
Um,
but that's where it came from,
yeah,
basically.
basically that's the story about
Tremayne,
it.
they're gorgeous. You're gorgeous. You've got a fabulous story.
Thank
Everyone needs a story.
Yes.
I'm going to put, if I may, you got a website?
Yes, we do. The Blacksmith Wines.
The Blacksmith Wines. Well,
Yeah.
it's easy enough. I don't have to put that anywhere. But I do highly recommend. They're different. They're left of centre. They're gorgeous. You can see why. We're lucky. We're privileged. Thank you for coming into my studio. It's
Thank
been
you.
lovely chatting
Thank
to
you for having me.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Another production from Solid Gold Podcasts.